So, good evening. So, our topic for this evening is all about Article 7 of the 1970 Constitution, and this refers to the executive department. So, I want to say executive department, this is where your president, your vice president, and the cabinet members are actually um, part of. Okay? So, in the section 1, so it's stated in here that the executive power shall be vested in the president of the Philippines. So it is the president who has this one, and it was in the constitution that mandated the president to do such. Okay, so when I say executive power, this is something to do with administering laws. Okay, so the president should carry the laws into practical operations, and he or she must enforce these laws. Okay, uh, or observe them very properly. So he or she has this kind of task as president of the republic. Same thing with the vice president, of course. Okay. So in the section 2, it's stated in here that the person or no person may be elected president unless he is a natural born citizen of the Philippines. So these are now the qualifications of those candidates running for president. So first qualification we have here, he or she must be a natural born citizen of the Philippines. The second one is he or she must be a registered voter. Of course, the third one able to read and write, and in terms of age, at least 40 years of age on the day of the election, and he or she must be a resident of the Philippines for at least 10 years immediately preceding such election. So the section 2 of the Article 7 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution states all the qualifications necessary for those candidates running for the president. Okay, so while section 3, so section 3, this is now pertaining to the vice president. Okay, and it is stated in here that the vice president has the same qualifications as what the president has, okay, or had. And the same term of office is enjoyed by the vice president. That is 6 years, okay, for one term. However, of course, the vice president can run for the same office as vice president for 2 consecutive terms. Okay, while the president of the republic could only um, run once, and he will just serve one term, and that's equivalent to 6 years. Okay, then of course, let's go to section 4. So in here, we will be talking about the term of office of the vice president and the president. So as I told you, the president will have only one term, while the vice president will have 2 consecutive terms. Okay, each term is consists of 6 years. However, in here, in section 4, it's stated in here that the president shall not be eligible for any re-election. So that's what I'm talking about a while ago. Okay. So no person who has succeeded as president and he has served as such for more than 4 years shall be qualified for election to the same office at any time. So ang nangyayari po dito, ganito po siya. Say for example, Joseph Estrada, why he was able to run for the same office as president for the presidential race that time. It's mainly because he did not able to finish his term. He only had 3.5 years, meaning to say he did not reach the term. Okay, the 4 years, which will be equivalent already to one term of being the president. So that did not happen during his time because he was impeached. Okay, so also there was this chance for President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo to run for the same office is mainly because she served only for about 2.5 years, which means to say after she replaced Joseph Estrada, what was left in that term of Joseph Estrada was only 2.5 years. And so therefore, she has still the chance to run for the same office as president, of course. So those are cases, okay, wherein you can run and you cannot run, okay, as president. So we have also here, no vice president shall serve for more than 2 consecutive terms. So that's what I said a while ago. And when it comes to election contest, right, the Supreme Court shall be the sole judge of all those contests relating to election. So this is intended for the president and the vice president. So when it comes to the congressional members, that falls under the sole authority of the COMELEC. At the same time, in the case of the local government unit, the same when it comes to the protest or contest relating to election of our local government officials. So the COMELEC has the final say in all those contests. So only for president and vice president that the sole judge in all those contests relating to election is or will be the Supreme Court. Okay, so that's the difference. So we have also these two terms in here, which sometimes we use inappropriately. Okay, so the term of office and the tenure of office. So when we're talking about term of office, this refers to the period during which an officer may claim to hold the office as a matter of right. So meaning to say, if you will become the president, you have this what we call term of office equivalent to 6 years, and that is your right. So that is embodied in the Constitution that we have in the 1907. So meaning to say, all the presidents that will be elected should and have this right to claim to hold such office for 6 years. Okay, while tenure of office is different. Okay, because when I say tenure of office, this is referring only to what? The period you are actually occupying that particular position. Okay, for example, president. So the tenure of office of Joseph Estrada lasted only for 3.5 years, while Gloria Macapagal Arroyo lasted for 8.5 years. Okay, while Marcos stayed in power as president for 21 years. And some other presidents that we have lasted only for one term, that's equivalent to 6 years. So that is the difference between term of office and tenure of office. So I hope you can get this one. Okay, so let's proceed to section 8. So in the case of death, permanent disability, removal from office, and resignation of the president, the vice president shall become the president to serve the unexpired term. So that's automatic. Okay, just like what happened to Joseph Estrada and Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So when Joseph Estrada was ousted from the post as president of the republic, so automatic, the vice president Gloria Macapagal Arroyo took over. Okay, so she became the president. So these are just some of the grounds for the vice president to replace. So in order for the vice president to replace the president, so these instances should take place first. So death, pagkamatay, permanent disability, so hindi niya na kaya magsilbi. Okay? So nangyayari dito, most of the time, so kailangan niya na talaga mag-resign. Okay? So aside from that, removal from office, so through impeachment, okay, procedure po ito. So pag natalo po siya, and he was found guilty by the Senate, okay, of the crime he committed, so automatic he will be removed from office. So this is the time when the vice president will now become the president. Okay, so in the case of death, permanent disability, removal from office, and resignation of both the president and the vice president, the President of the Senate, or in case in his ability, the Speaker of the House of Representatives shall then act as President until the President or Vice President shall have been elected and qualified. So meaning to say, pag namatay po yung Presidente at saka Vice Presidente, may chance po ngayon si President of the Senate or Senate President, who happens to be Soto this time, or in the case of his ability, the Speaker, pag tatlo po sila namatay po. So, say for example, sa isang plane crash, so andun silang tatlo, the President, Vice President, and the Senate President. So, if that happens, the Speaker of the House has now the chance to become the President. So, that's very awful for the three if this thing will happen to them. So, if in case there will be no successor, say for example, the speaker was also included in the plane crash, so automatic guys that the Senate pro tempore will took over, okay, because he was next in rank, okay. We have the president, vice president, Senate president, we have the House Speaker, and after that one, we have also the Senate pro tempore. Okay, so that number 5 will now took over if in case the 4 persons died or officials died in a plane crash. Okay, so he shall act as president until the president or vice president shall have been elected or qualified. So this is done through this what we call special election. So that will be called, okay, in order to fill the vacancy in the president post and vice president post. Okay, so yan po. Then we have also section 9. So under the section 9 of the 1987 Constitution, under Article 7 po ito. So whenever there is a vacancy in the office of the Vice President, what will happen? So this is not the same as what we have when, if we're going to compare this one in the situation of the President who, say for example, who will be ousted, or say for example, he died or he resigned. That's not actually the procedure in here. Okay, so what will happen, okay, if in case that the vice president died, so the president now can nominate a vice president from the members of the Senate or the House of Representatives. So this is only done by nomination. So we will not vote for this one. Okay, so that's only when the vice president died. So the president has the final say, of course, through recommendation and nomination, of course. Okay, and you cannot just become the vice president if you are not actually trusted by the president. So it is good that when the nomination comes, the president should select that member of the Senate or either a member of the House of Representatives na kaalyado po niya, okay, for smooth manning of the government. Okay, so that's it. So we have also section 10. Okay, so the Congress shall, after the vacancy in the offices of the President and Vice President occurs, convene and enact a law calling for a special election to elect the Vice President or the President or the Vice President. Okay, so it is the Congress, okay, that shall call for a special election in order for them to what? To fill the vacancy and to elect the President and Vice President. Okay, just in case that the Vice President and the President died in a plane crash. So these are just scenarios that are possible, right, to happen. So this is embodied in here. This is written in here in the Constitution just to make sure that when this happens, so there will be a clear picture or procedure on how to elect the next president and the vice president, of course. Okay. So we have also section 13. So under the Article 7 of the 1970 Philippine Constitution, in its section 13 stated in here that the president or the vice president, the members of the cabinet shall not, unless otherwise provided in the Constitution, hold any other office or employment during their tenure. Okay, so this is talking about loyalty to the position and the office you are holding. So this means that there should be what? Disclosure or full disclosure of your being a owner, a CEO, or a manager of a particular private organization. Okay, so if you run for government offices or office, so you cannot be the CEO of your own company at the same time a politician. So that could not happen here. That should not, and that must not be the case. Okay, so you cannot serve two masters at one time in the same time. Okay, so this is the practice. So this is done. It's mainly because we wanted to avoid corruption. Okay, and of course the conflict of interest. Okay, so this conflict of interest is sometimes happening even though some politicians are inactive already in their respective previous organizations. And what happens usually, they are just having this what we call dummy. Okay, so the term here is dummy. So they're using those dummies in order for them to uh, have contracts with the government. So sometimes these people uh, use other names or new names for the organization so that they could penetrate inside the government. Okay, so this was already discussed previously during I think Secretary Duki's case. Okay, so before Duki's family owned a pharmaceutical firm, and that time I think Duki was in the central bank, right? He was not yet the secretary of the UH. And it so happened that time that the pharmaceutical firm of the family of Secretary Duki had a contract. Okay, I just don't know the amount, but there was a contract, okay, signed between the government and the pharmaceutical firm owned by the family of Secretary Duki while he was still part of the central bank. Okay, so right now that he is the Secretary of Department of Health, so he made sure that that thing, that practice, okay, can't happen again. So he publicly exposed this one, okay, and he publicly told this one that sa panahon niya, okay, so hindi na po magkakaroon ng tinatawag nating kontrata, okay, yung pharmaceutical firm na pagmamayari po nila with the DOH or other uh, departments of the government. Okay, this is just to avoid suspicion, okay, of abusing the power, okay, of the secretary. So I think that's a good indication that the secretary is also willing to give up, and he had this full disclosure of his position, okay, as public servant, of course. Because if you're not true to public service, this is really hard for you to give up. Because most of the time, if you are serving two interests, so normal situation for you, you are acting in the position that you're having, like most of the time, it seems that you wanted to come up with profit. Okay, so to make sure that this will not happen, so it's better for you to give up that interest. Okay, so what you should prioritize this time is the people. Okay, so serving the people. So if you are a public servant, you have to serve the people. Okay, So that's the priority of every politician. Okay, not that they are in there just for their self-interest. Okay, so because pag nangyari po yun, kawawa po yung taong bayan. Okay, so aside from that, the spouse also and relatives of by consanguinity or affinity wherein the fourth civil degree of the president shall not during his tenure be appointed as members of the Constitutional Commission or the Office of the Ombudsman as secretaries or heads of the bureau or offices. So what is meant by this? So ganito lang po yan. Say for example, presidente ka, yung asawa mo, anak mo, yung kapatid mo, yung pinsan mo, hindi po sila allowed na mag-hold ng any office. Say for example, constitutional commissions ng mga commissions na agency, okay, including the ombudsman, at the same time the different secretaries or heads of the bureau and offices. So bawal na bawal po yan. So you can appoint, okay, your relatives if that relative of yours belong already to this what they call fifth civil degree. Okay? Pag fourth civil degree po, okay, hindi pa po pwede. Okay? Kasi most of the time, pag nangyari kasi yun, we will be suffering from this what we call nepotism or favoritism. And if this happen, kawawa po yung ating sambayanan. Okay? Bakit? Kasi madali po sa kanila para manipulahin po yung mga bagay-bagay kasi ang halos po andoon sa pwesto ay mga sinasabi nating mga kamag-anak. So, pag nangyari po yun, mas delikado po sa tinatawag nating corruption. So, they will be prone of doing things, especially illegal things, just to come up with profit out of the position that they're having. So it would be very easy for them to manipulate everything because they are a family, okay? So when the family runs a particular office or a particular country, so automatic po yan, mas madali, okay? Para makakurakot po. Okay, ganun lang po yung system natin. Okay, kaya we have this anti-dynasty right now pero na bill, pero I just don't know if that will be for sure because most of the time, if the politicians are affected by a particular law, they will not going to support that law or proposed bill. It's mainly because once it happened, right, their interest will be affected. So at the same time, say for example, doon sa death penalty na bill, okay, they don't want to include plunder, right? Why? So, para kasing ginigisa mo yung sarili mo dun eh. Okay? So, ikaw din po ang matatamaan nun. Pag sakali pinasan nila yon, so sila din mismo ang matatamaan ng kanilang ginawang batas. So, to avoid it, hindi na lang sila sasang-ayon doon. Kaya hindi yan matuloy-tuloy. Ganun na kasimple yung usapan. Okay? Yung usapin na yon. Okay, ganun kasimple. So, hindi mo masasabi na itutuloy nila kasi hindi mo pala masasabi na itutuloy nila yon kasi nga, pag ikaw ay tatamaan, okay, mga anak mo, members ng family mo, say for example, na alam mo naman na nangungurakot na ever since, so talaga magkakaroon ka ng reservation. Okay? So, kaya hindi po napupush through yan. So, takot din po sila. Okay? Kasi pag sinali nila yung plunder, marami sila. Okay? Talagang mapo-fall doon. Kasi alam nila sa sarili nila na may ginagawa po silang mali. Okay? So, yun po. Then, of course, we have also, as executive, the president has this, what they call different powers or specific powers. So this falls under Article 7, Section 16 to Section 23. Okay? So in the Section 16, we can see in here the appointing power of the president. Now, in appointing, the different heads of the executive departments, even the ambassadors or other public minister or consuls or officers of the armed forces of the Philippines, uh, it is not absolute actually when it comes to the appointing power of the president. Why? It has to go through the consent of this what we call commission on appointments. Once that the appointee of the president will not be liked by is not warm welcome by the commission on appointments members. So it would be very awful for that particular appointee. Say, for example, the case of Perpetuo Yasay, okay, who happens to be the Secretary of Department of Foreign Affairs, okay, because they are actually close friends of they are close friends, okay. He is, I don't know if he was the best friend of the president, but Yasay was actually very close to the president at the time. Okay, even today, of course. Mm, what happened was Yasay was actually having two passports, and these two passports telling us that he is he was a citizen of the Philippines at the same time he was a citizen of the U.S. So he had this American passport and Philippine passport. So that was the ground for Yasay not to be part of the cabinet. So in the case of Gina Lopez, so the late Gina Lopez, um, I think she just uh, overwhelmed actually, okay, of the post that time. Hindi niya kasi hinintay na ma-appoint muna siya bago siya gumawa ng malalaking hakbang. Ang nangyari kasi kay Miss Jenna Lopez, hindi pa siya totally appointed that time. There was no black and white paper yet that was signed by the Commission on Appointments at the same time the President. Talagang pumatsada na siya eh. So yun yung nakikita namin noon na problema niya. Bakit? Some of the members of the Commission on Appointments are aligned actually or having this business aligned to the mining sector. And most of the supporters actually of those congressmen, senators, even the president or the vice president, some of them actually are into mining business. So since Gina was actually eager and really feist, okay, in combating illegal mining, so that's one actually of the reasons maybe. I could not conclude, of course. Okay, maybe. Maybe one of the reasons why she did not able to get the sympathy of the members of the Commission on Appointments. Okay, so those are just two examples. Okay, that even you are actually a nominee of the president, you are being nominated by the president to a particular post, but without the consent of the Commission on Appointments, still that appointment given to you by the president is null. Okay, it could be nullified. Okay, it could be void. Okay, so aside from the cabinet departments, cabinet members or secretaries, what other or who are those qualified to be nominated by the president or can be appointed by the president? So I have mentioned it already a while ago. Okay, so they are the heads of the executive department, of course. Okay, that's one. Ambassadors, okay, other public ministers and consuls, even the officers of the armed forces of the Philippines, from the rank of colonel to naval captain, and other officers whose appointments are vested in him and the Constitution. So that's how powerful the commission on appointment is. Okay? So walang effect yung appointing power ni President kapag hindi po nila pinayagan yon. So ganun katindi ang Commission on Appointments. Okay? So when we say appointment, it is the act of designation of the executive officer of the individual who is to exercise the function of a given office. So there are actually duties and responsibilities. So if you are appointed, so you have to act accordingly, according to the designation that you are actually having. So once you're given 5 tasks, so you have to make sure that you can do that 5 tasks or beyond. Okay, so long as you could not intervene, okay, in the task of others or to the task of others, because there will be overlapping of work if that happens. Okay, so although the Constitution contains no provision expressly vesting in the President the power to remove executive officials from their posts, he still has the removal power as it is implied from his appointing power. So, ganun po yung mangyayari. Okay? So, the final say again of the appointment still on the hands of the members of the Commission on Appointments. Okay? So, pero kung gusto niyong tanggalin, tanggalin. Okay? Tatanggalin niya talaga. So, wala kang magawa dyan pag gusto ni executive ngayon na tanggalin ka kasi wala na siyang trust and confidence sa iyo. So, in the case of Doki, guys, medyo siguro maraming dinaanan itong dalawa na ito na hindi ganoon kadali tinatalsik ni Duterte si Doki, ano? Kasi in the previous years, if you can, if you notice, those officials who happens to be accused or allegedly accused of corruption are automatically recommended by Duterte to resign, but not in the case of Doki. Of course, what is the difference? Okay, between or say for example, Biason ba yun? Okay, I think Biason of the Custom. Okay, what's the difference between Biason and Duque? So, nung pumutok po yung tinatawag nating issue doon sa Bureau of Custom, guys, pinaunti-unti yung ni President Duterte. So, rumatsyada siya doon hanggang sa na-recommend niya na umalis na si Biason, si Biason doon. Okay? Samantala si Duque, guys, pinutakti na siya ng tinatawag nating media. Andyan pa yung campaign sa kanya to resign. But of course, if the trust and confidence of the president is still in there, okay, still there, so no matter what, you will be saved by the president. So that is the case of Duque. Okay? Unlike with the case of Biason, he did not able to gain the trust, okay, of the president. So that is why he was ousted from the post, okay, as Bureau Commissioner. So ganun lang po kasimple yung usapan. Okay? So we have also Section 17, the control power. So this is where the president shall have control of all the executive departments, the bureaus and offices. He shall ensure that the laws be faithfully executed. So ito po yung sinasabi nating kapangyarihan ng presidente po, okay, na kung saan overseer po ang dating niya dito, okay, sa lahat po ng executive departments niya, including all bureaus and offices. But take note, kahit masasabi natin overseer siya, he could not still ensure to us that he can control all of them. Mainly because magkakaiba pa yung utak natin. Okay? So say for example, dito sa local government unit, mas marami pong kurakot dito. Okay? Kung isuma total natin yan, okay, sa lahat ng mga tinatawag nating local government units from the barangay going to the province, kung isuma total natin yan sa buong Pilipinas, mas malaki din po yung nakukuha ng mga nasa local G. Okay? Pero mas malakihan po yung nakukurakot ng tinatawag nating mga national officials natin, kagaya ng mga congressmen, okay, yung senators natin, okay. Ano pa ba? Even the Vice President and the President, even the cabinet members. Okay? So, still, kahit anong sabi ni Duterte na, okay, tigilan niya na yung pangungurakot, still, wala siya magagawa dyan kapag ka nasa system na po yun. Pag naka-infuse na po kasi sa system natin, okay, ang hirap na po yung tanggalin. Okay? So, say for example, sa DPWH, okay, I used to work in there before. Ang nangyayari kasi doon, nagkakaroon sila ng markup doon sa projects nila. Say for example, yung amount ng hollow blocks or kaya cement ay ganito lang. So, they will add in the price. Say for example, 230 lang yung o 220 lang yung isang sako ng semento. So, gagawin nila yung 250. So, meaning to say, may 30 pesos sila bawat sako. So, kung magpapatayo ka po ng building, ilang sakong cement ang gagastusin mo? Kaya doon. Kung mag-construct ka ng concrete roads, gaano kahaba yun? At ilang sako po ng semento? Sa semento pa lang po yun. Okay? So, sa 30 pesos bawat kung isuma total natin yan, kung ilan libo po yun, say for example, 25,000. Okay? So, 25,000 sack of cement. So, ang mangyayari po doon, magkakaroon sila ng kickback from the what do you call this one? Construction firm. Okay? Sa kanilang contractor. So, i-times natin yan sa 2,500 sacks. So, meaning to say, dito pa lang sa 2,500 sacks, guys, they have already what we call 75. So, they can now gain 75,000. Okay, sa 30 pesos lang yun, ha. So, say for example, sa steel, magkakaroon sila ng markup doon ng 1 peso or 2 pesos. So, kung isuma total natin yung markups nila, hindi pa doon kasali yung kasi may last price po yan. Ang nangyayari kasi doon, si supplier, ganito talaga yung original price niya pag bulk po yung kukunin mo doon. So, si construction firm, magma-markup din yan siya. So, say for example, yung original na price talaga is 200 lang per sack. Okay? Kukunin ngayon tawag natin dyan, ni construction firm, yung cement na yon in the amount of 200. Ngayon, magma-markup na rin yan siya para may ginansya din, of course. So, gagawin niyang 220. Ngayon, magma-markup din si DPWH, gagawin niya rin na 250. So, most likely, kikita ngayon ng 20 pesos si contractor. Limpyo po yun. Okay? Walang walang kaltas. Si DPWH, ang mangyayari dyan, nagkakaroon sila ng markup na 30 pesos. So doon sa 30 pesos, either sasabihin ito ni contractor na sige, yung 10 pesos sa akin, yung 20 sa'yo. So yun yung kickback, yung 20 pesos. Kikita yung contractor, guys. At the same time, kikita din yung mga nasa loob ng DPWH. Okay? And this is not new to me because I was there. Okay? So, lahat yan sila. Okay? Kung saan na-put up o itinayo yung building o saan kinonstruct yung road, automatic yan. Okay? Parang SOP na kasi dito sa Pilipinas eh. Kaya may automatic kickback si congressman, si gobernador, especially kapag ang pondo ay galing sa isang congressman o kaya sa mayor, galing sa mayor. Okay? So automatic yan, may kickback yan lahat. Okay? So, ganun kalala dito sa Pilipinas. So, hindi po totally na-implement na maayos yung mga dapat i-implement, especially projects or yung tinatawag nating different activities na mayroon yung mga departments natin. Okay, some of them are actually trying. Pero, of course, that should not I could not generalize all of them because there are some departments that are really doing their best in giving social services to the public. So, ganun po. Okay, that's section 17. So the control power, okay, of the president can be altered or modified or set aside action of subordinate officers. So, ganun po kasi yan. Pag ayaw niya na, okay, hanggang dyan ka na lang. Okay? So, he has also the power to supervise, investigate, suspend, or remove hearing officers. So, marami na pong nangyari na ganito. So, especially nung una pa, nung first year pa niyan, second year. So, sobra-sobra siya kung pumataw ng suspension that time. Later, he will recommend you to resign. Okay? So, but right now, of course, nagdadahan-dahan na yan siya. Okay? Kasi malapit na matapos yung term niya. Okay? Now, we have also the military power. So, this is under Section 18 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, still under Article 7. So, Article 8. No. Yes, 7. Okay, 7. Okay? Article 8 is judiciary. So Section 18 states that the President shall be Commander-in-Chief, shall be the Commander-in-Chief of all armed forces of the Philippines, and whenever it becomes necessary, he may call out such armed forces to prevent or suppress lawless violence, invasion, or rebellion. He may also suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus or place the Philippines or any part thereof under martial law. So of course, nagkaroon tayo ng problema during the Mama Sapano encounter, yung sa 44 po, kasi tinatanong ng taong bayan that time kung sino ba yung commander-in-chief ng PNP. Kasi it was not clearly stated in the Constitution. But if you're going to look at it, it is actually still the President of the Republic. Okay? So, ang nakasad lang kasi dito, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. So, yung sa Armed Forces of the Philippines natin kasi apat lang yung andoon. Air Force, Military, Navy, Marines. So, yun lang yung apat. Okay? So, hindi nakasaad sa ligang batas natin yung PNP. Okay? Pero, in effect guys, ganoon pa rin. Okay, still the president is the commander-in-chief of the Philippine National Police. Now, as the president, he has this power also to declare all-out war, okay, against lawless elements. Say, for example, we have this case before during the time of Estrada. So, Estrada, the former President Estrada declared all-out war against the MILF. Okay, so at the same time, during this time, President Duterte, that was 2 years ago, we will use the case of Marawi City. Okay, the Mauti brothers, okay, including the Abu Sayyaf. Okay, so President Duterte called for an all-out war against them, just to suppress, okay, their activities. Okay, so ganun po. Now, sometimes ito yung ayaw natin, itong kasunod, yung suspension of privilege of habeas corpus. Because if this will be abused by the authorities, so normal situation for you, pwedeng walang, ano po ito, pwedeng walang paglilitis. Pwede ka nilang ikulong anytime they want. Kasi pagka under martial law po tayo, minsan wala po tayo nito. Okay? So, or place the Philippine or any part of thereof under martial law. So, nangyari na yan po dito, okay, sa Mindanao. So, nung nangyari yung Marawi siege, okay, so all Mindanao was put under martial law. So, nagkaroon ng dissection. So, especially during the case of Mama Sapano, only Maguindanao, Cotabato, and Sultan Kudarat were placed under martial law. Okay, so sa time po naman yun ni former President Aquino, okay, Noynoy. Okay, but of course the martial law that we could not forget, okay, was the martial law being declared by President Marcos. Okay? So, September 21, 1972. So, most of the old ones, I just don't know if how true are those statements, okay? Especially doon sa TikTok na nakita ko, okay, na sinasabi na mas maganda pa daw yung buhay nila during Marcos time or martial law. Now, we could not really generalize that the 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 scenario, okay? Maybe in their province or region, hindi ganun ka-intense yung sinasabi nating implementation ng martial law that time. Kaya siguro nasasabi niya na mas maganda pa yung buhay nila kahit na may martial law noon. Pero for people who suffer from the injustices, of course, from the hands of the military, not really military because that time PC was really the implementer of martial law, not the military. Okay? So ganun po yung system. And there was actually, there were rumors already, say for example, si Gadon ngayon. Okay. So Gadon was trying to brainwash. Okay. I just don't know how true are those statements coming from Gadon. Okay. So kung hindi nyo kilala si Gadon, siya po yung tumakbong senador pero hindi siya nanalo. Okay. I just don't know kung dami din siya ng mga Marcoses. Okay. Pero pumapabor po siya sa mga Marcos. Okay, so kahaka niyo pong sinasabi yon na talagang mas masama pa yung mga Aquino, okay, kaysa sa mga Marcoses. Okay, at sinasabi niya na ang nagpapahirap noon, okay, ay ang mga Aquino at hindi si Marcos. So we just don't know. And there is still a need for us to verify this account. Kasi this is coming actually from one of the candidates running for senator that time, and he was also an attorney by profession. So ang hirap po i-weigh po ngayon kung sino ba yung nagsasabi na totoo, hindi. Okay? So ayan. So those are actually scenarios of martial law. Okay? So I just don't know if they have this plan right now, yung tandem na Bongbong Marcos and Inday Sara. So they are already starting steering actually the social media. Okay? At nagpaparamdam na po yun. Kasi po yan sila. Kasi nga, pag sinasabi kasi natin na na national election, okay, talagang a year before, guys, ng election or 2 years before, so they are already surveying, okay, yung tinatawag nating madlang people. So nagkakaroon na yan sila ng benchmarking, ika nga. Okay? So pag nalaman nila actually na pumapabor o sumasang-ayon yung tao doon sa tandem na yon, so this is the time now na magkakaroon na rin sila ng mga tinatawag nating campaigns using social media. And that is also happening in the US. Okay, they are going to steer the social media in order to get the pulse of the public, okay, whether they are pro or not, okay, or anti. So if they will know that the public had a sympathy to them. So, normal situation is that tutuloy yung pagtakbo niya, okay, ng isang tinatawag nating politician. And we have this, what do you call this one? Premonition, okay, that there might be a tendency of having this Bongbong Marcos Inday Sara tandem, okay, for the 2022 election, national election. Okay, so maybe I am wrong. So maybe I am correct. So let us just see, okay, what will happen in 2022. Okay. So however, guys, in declaring martial law, even though
the president has the power to declare it. During this time, under the 1997 Philippine Constitution, there are actually restrictions. So what are those restrictions, or what are the qualifications, okay, for the president to declare martial law? So one ground is there must be an invasion or rebellion. So pag sinako po tayo, pag mayroon pong pag-aaklas locally, okay, so pwede po yan magdeklara. So kagaya sa Marawi Siege, okay, so nagkaroon tayo ng declaration ng martial law, okay, dito sa Pilipinas, okay, especially Mindanao. And what the president should do after declaring martial law, so he must submit a report